We're not the good guys. We're not even close to being the good guys. But today, we're going to save the world. Because on Elvis,
we're going to dance!
Yeah, we're not doing that.
What's up, guys? I'm Tam2, and I'm here with the guys from Borderlands. Jonathan, the creative director, and Anthony, the writer for Borderlands, the pre-sequel. How are you guys doing today?
I'm very well.
I'm good.
I'm also very good because I just played the demo that you guys showed off for the pre-sequel. How much fun are you guys having developing this right now?
A lot of fun. It's been a real wild ride, and we're really excited about the game and where it's at.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2K Australia working with the guys at Gearbox in America, and I've been having more fun playing it, really, because it's so much of it is 2K Australia, bringing in the low-gravity gunfights and the butt-slamming and all that stuff. It's just been a blast to just play as a fan.
Yeah, so how much time did you spend like developing on the whole gravity concept? Because you already had a really solid thing going on with Borderlands. How did that expand the gameplay in general?
I mean, really, it started when we decided that we wanted to go to the moon. And if we're going to the moon, then we've got to have all those moon promises. We've got to, because when you think of our moon, you think of your low gravity and no atmosphere. So, it just really made sense to go in that direction. And so from very early on, we started playing around with like, how high and far can player jump, and what that feels like and what that does to the combat. And it turns out it makes it really awesome, and it makes it hard to go back because it's not about sort of running around on the ground and crouching behind cover anymore. It's about soaring in the sky and raining down death from above, and it turns out that's amazingly fun.
Did it help adding that extra feature to develop the classes that you already have to make them even more different than in the previous games?
Well, we've definitely added, to each of the characters, we wanted to add like skills and things that would, make sense for the low gravity mechanics and things like the butt slam. So each of the characters has got a skill which makes their butt slam kind of cooler. Each of the characters, has really got a lot of flavor, which is sort of derived from, who they are and where they came from.
So this week you unveiled Claptrap. How has the response to that been so far?
Surprisingly good, because he's just a really random, really chaotic character, and people seem to have glommed onto that and been really interested in, like, oh, this guy looks like he is the dumbest and also the funnest character, and that's pretty much what he is. He's a guy who will sometimes turn into a pirate ship and destroy everybody with cannons, and sometimes he'll just make everybody start bouncing up and down for no reason at all, and that'll be fun for its own weird reasons.
Right, so the first Borderlands had its set of pop culture references, so did the second one. With a pre-sequel being in between, how do you pick the right pop culture references that fit in between those timelines?
You make them Australian.
Yeah, we kind of, that's our stamp on the game, is we kind of made the moon like the Australian outback, and it's full of really annoying Australian weirdos. And so there's probably a lot of jokes which only apply to people who have lived in and grown up in Australia, but it brings a real like flavor that is really unique to this game.
But they're awesome weirdos. And speaking of awesome weirdos, the cosplayers that you just saw, how was that? How was the fan connection with them? Do you have that often?
Every time I go to a convention, there's usually one or two, but that was an enormous group, and they were all super, super good at cosplaying and really, really nice. And it was, they were geeking out over like having us autograph stuff, but I was just geeking out over like seeing people dressing as something that I helped write. Yeah. And it's one of the most fun things for me of doing this job at all is meeting fans like that.
What fuels you to write all that stuff? What inspires you?
Being paid money,
of course.
And really not wanting to get an actual like for real job where I have to like do normal things, and just generally liking video games a lot and liking to make people laugh and having those be the only two things I understand.
Yeah. So the game's coming out for Xbox 360, PS3, and PC. We played it on PC. It looks great. Is there any chance that you might consider releasing it for the next gen platforms?
Maybe.
They don't tell us anything.
Maybe, just maybe. Handsome Jack, the story is all about before he became an asshole, as you mentioned. How big is his part in the game compared to the playable characters?
It's pretty big. He's sort of your touchstone in the game in terms of like he's the guy who's leading you through most of the game. You'll meet other new characters, a lot of new characters that Morris Suckling and Merrick Walton, the writers that work with 2K Australia on a lot of the game, sort of put in like Pickle and Springs and stuff like that. But it all eventually sort of comes back to Jack and the reactions that Jack has with the player characters and with some of the other NPCs that we met in the other Borderlands games. And you'll see how like Roland and Lilith and he first met and see that it wasn't necessarily the most confrontational thing in the world initially.
So in Borderlands 2, we had a really cool and popular character, Tiny Tina. Can we expect something like that in the pre-sequel?
I hope so. We've added a bunch of new characters that live on the moon. There's also some familiar faces that are returning. But we've got people like Jenny Springs, who's like a junk dealer who lives up there on the moon, and you'll meet her early on, and she'll help you out a bit. And we've got Nurse Nina, who's like, if you play Borderlands, you know Dr. Ned. You'll probably be familiar with her role in the game. There's Pickle, who's like a little street urchin type of guy who helps out Jenny Springs and got a really nice Cockney accent. So like there's a bunch of new characters. They're all really cool and interesting in their own right, and hopefully people will like them.
All right. So last question: what are your favorite characters and why?
Nisha, because she's a really fun glass cannon to play as, and personality-wise, she's just a really, really awful, horrible person, but in a like charming, kind of fun to be around way.
I've got to say, well, I really like Athena, but I've got to say that Claptrap is just like is unlike anything you've ever played in a video game before, and he's just so chaotic and weird and fun and crazy and insane that it's hard not to pick him, I think.
All right, thank you so much. When can we expect Borderlands the pre-sequel again?
So it's coming out on Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and PC on October 17th in Europe.
All right, thank you guys very much.
Woo! Hot damn! You're the best, handsome Jack. And super handsome, did I mention that? And smart, and all the women want to do ya. You like my poem? I wrote that. Borderlands, the pre-sequel! I love my voice.